friends, Sheila here with my cat Cheesecake, who you can probably barely see, but she's there. Yeah, she's not going anywhere. Today I am sharing the waterproof bike touring gear I cannot live without. Between bike touring and the many years that I have commuted through the rain and snow and various weather conditions Mother Nature throws my way, I have found some waterproof gear that I find really helps keep me warm and dry. And I don't know about you, but I'm a pretty big cranky pants when I am wet and cold. So I'm very excited today to share the gear that I used to stay warm and dry. So when you head out cycling or on your next bike tour, you can have the gear you need to stay warm and dry as well. All right, let's get going. First off, and probably most important, a good rain jacket. Now, this one here is from Mech, which as far as I know, you will mostly find in Canada. This one I got in probably 2014, and it is still waterproof. You can actually see that the inside is starting to peel now, but it has served me very well for a long time. Now, unfortunately, because it's such an old model, I cannot get this exact one, nor can I give you a link to get to this exact product, but I will tell you what I will be looking for from my experience in my next rain jacket so that you can pick out a good one as well. Number one, and this is key, I look at reviews. Doesn't matter what the description says about the fabric or the product or that it says waterproof, I really find it matters what people say. If people say it's waterproof, then that is a very good sign. I make sure for one that is colorful. When it's raining, it's going to be dimmer, drivers are gonna have lower visibility, and so I'm always gonna try to choose a colorful rain jacket over a black one. If it's high vis or has reflective strips on it, even better. I also look to make sure that seams or zippers are as covered as possible. So these pockets have a covering over them. The zipper at the front does as well, just because that's going to decrease the risk of water getting in through your zippers. Honestly, I'm kind of undecided on ventilation strips, like a zipper that vents under your armpits. I don't use it very often, and I find it's more of a risk of water getting in, but I also generally run pretty cold. So if you're somebody that sweats a lot or gets really hot, that might be helpful for you. But here is the very key thing you want to remember when you're picking out a rain jacket for cycling. The hood, you want to make sure it goes enough over your face that it's going to create this kind of cocoon to keep the rain from getting into your face and down the back of your neck. So I will demonstrate for you. So obviously you don't want it to impair your visibility. You still want to be able to do your proper checks for vehicles, but I do find it really key that it comes forward like this. It creates this little cocoon around my head, and then the water isn't able to get in. If the hood sits further back like this, water's gonna get onto your forehead, and that's gonna drip down the back, and that is going to be a terrible sensation. So those are some key things I look for when picking out a rain jacket. Number two is rain pants. These ones I got from Mech as well. Now, although I normally swear by reviews, these are ones that I actually picked off a clearance rack and somehow got really lucky. So again, I'm sorry, I can't give you the exact link, but I will tell you what I look for so that you can pick out a good pair. One, I don't get rain pants with pockets. I don't see the point. I don't have pockets in my cycling shorts or my leggings, so I figure I got the pockets in my raincoat, I don't need them on my rain pants, and it's just gonna be an extra risk of leakage. So, no pockets for me. Again, I would normally check reviews when picking out my rain pants, and it's important to remember that a lot of rain pants are designed for hiking or running. For cycling, I really like rain pants that have an elastic band option at the ankle, because that way I can avoid my pant running into my chain and potentially causing a very bad situation. You can also get Velcro straps, even reflective Velcro straps, to keep that away as well, but I like that as a feature. And then lastly, you really want to make sure they're comfortable to move in. Again, keeping in mind that if they're designed for hiking or running, your knees don't come up as high on a regular basis when you're hiking or running, whereas when you're cycling, they're constantly coming up to like almost perpendicular, right? So make sure when you put your rain pants on, you know, you do some squats, do some lunges, do some high knees, make sure that you feel really comfortable with that motion, that it isn't going to pinch or be uncomfortable. comfortable anywhere. And also I recommend trying them on with whatever clothing you typically wear after and making sure it's comfortable, sizing up if you need to, because the last thing you want is for your rain pants to feel really tight over your other clothing. So that is rain pants. Now 3 and 4 are going to go together. They are regarding our feet. Number 3 is shoe covers, and number 4 is waterproof socks. So first let's talk about number 3. I used to use the more expensive kind of wetsuit style covers, and although I found them helpful for keeping my foot warm, I found water got in really quickly. They were also really difficult to put on. So if it was kind of spitting, I'd be like, I don't really want to put them on. I wouldn't put them on, and then my feet get wet. So I got these ones again from Mech. I think I will be able to link these though. These are a newer product, so I will link them if I can. So these ones are a little more bulky, but they're really easy to put on, which I find is great. The one issue I find with shoe covers of basically any kind that I have tried is that they're designed to allow for kind of clip-in or clipless pedals, and so they have this cutout, and also it allows you to have grip so you don't slip when you're actually walking. But that does mean that most of the water that gets into my feet doesn't come from above, it actually comes from below, from the water splashing off the ground. So that is when we introduce number 4, waterproof socks. And these, my friend, are game changers. I will absolutely link to them below. I didn't even know waterproof socks existed, but these literally, you can run them underwater with your hand inside for like a minute. You could do longer, but that's as long as I've tried it. You take your hand out, your hand is completely dry. It is wild. So I've only used these on one bike tour so far on my ride from Toronto to Montreal, but that was a week long and it rained most days. So I will link to those videos as well below if you want to see them in action. But honestly, wet feet can make you real miserable. So these two together, I find my feet stay nice and warm, quite dry, and it's a game changer. Number 5 is warm gloves. Now these ones, honestly, sometimes it's hard to tell if things are waterproof because you're also sweating, right? So sometimes it's hard to tell if when you get wet, it's from water getting in or from your sweat making you wet. And I find that's a really hard thing with gloves when it's raining. I do find with these ones, they're from Craft. I find that after 20 or 30 minutes, my hands feel slightly wet and I can't tell if that's from perspiration. But what I will say is that I don't really mind, because unlike if my body is wet and then I feel really uncomfortable, if my hands are wet, I don't really mind it so much. It's mostly just if they get cold. And if you have bare hands or short gloves and it's raining and you're getting windswept, that's just really cold and uncomfortable. So I find that these, regardless of whether they are fully waterproof or not, they keep me warm enough that I'm comfortable and I really don't mind that my hands are wet. Plus they have grippy bottoms, so that's really nice for cycling as well. So those are my clothing items, but there's 2 other items I still want to touch on that help with keeping me and my things dry. The first one is this handlebar bag from Ortlieb. It's their Ultimate 6 Plus, and the way it works is obviously you attach it to your handlebar like that, but then, not graceful at all. This basically just really smoothly covers the whole thing. The fabric is waterproof, but then this, like, rather than worrying about zippers or anything that's gonna let water in, it just completely envelops it, and it's so easy to open, close on your bike. And I keep my camera and my microphone and basically all the things that I really don't want to get wet in here, and I feel really safe doing so. So this has been a really big asset. Lastly, and I'm not gonna dig it out of my closet right now, is my tent. I have an MSR Elixir 2 tent. I made a video about the time I got caught in a rainstorm in a leaky tent in my old tent, and I am very happy to have made an upgrade to this one. It has been through some pretty stormy conditions and has not let a single drop of water in so far, knock on wood. scared cheesecake, but I needed to knock because I love the tent and I really hope it keeps working as well as it has. But what I will add is that proper tent maintenance is key. You really want to make sure that your tent isn't getting rolled up wet. Obviously, sometimes, you know, it rains for the night, it's raining in the morning, you gotta roll it up and get somewhere. But when that happens, I really try to stop later in the day to air it out if I can. Really find an opportunity as soon as possible to get it dry. And if I have time in the morning to just lay it out in the sun, let it dry before I roll it up. And then especially if it's going to be in the closet for a longer period of time, making sure it is completely dry before you roll it up and put it away is really helpful. It's really gonna help with the longevity of the tent and making sure that it stays waterproof and healthy for as long as possible. So those are my 7 waterproof items I cannot live without. You may have noticed one item is missing if you're wondering about panniers or bags. I am having issues with my current panniers. I found them very waterproof, but the mechanism that holds them to my rack has been a bit of an issue. So I don't feel totally confident recommending them at the moment, but as soon as I find a set of panniers or bags that I really love and can really rely on, then I will be sure to let you know about them. Okay, that is it for this very important chat about waterproof items. I'm all about that waterproof life. If you have any waterproof gear or specific products that you swear by and love, definitely toss them in the comments below so everyone can learn from each other and grab all the best waterproof gear so we can all have warm and dry riding experiences. Okay, that's it for this one. Thanks for being here and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Bye.